Be sure to subscribe for your chance to win a custom leather playmat when we hit 2,500 subscribers. Welcome to Fast Effect Doublespeed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. We're playing live over Discord, and we've got the names backwards here. It's actually going to be Pyle Souza on Hogaak on the right, the Scholars playmat. Site of my first Magic tournaments that I ever played in. Worked with that store for a number of years, and in many ways our Wednesday night series is a continuation of those same events. They actually started out originally, I'd have to think about it. We did Vintage and Legacy. Eventually they kind of switched positions as Legacy became the more popular format after Brainstorm got restricted. It was a pretty big exodus of Vintage players to Legacy at that point. Just lets you play so many different types of decks and find answers, find your combo. Gives a pretty clear thing to fight against as well for decks like Chalice of the Void. And we have a Stifle taking out this first fetch land. This could be good for Josh, who now lands a Dreadhorde Arcanist. Not likely to have too much synergy there with that Stifle, however. Pretty difficult to set that up. And now we've got a Careful Study. Underground Sea being fetched, and this one getting dazed, so Josh really, with the stranglehold so far, stifling, dazing, now brainstorming with Dreadhorde, looking to get another incremental advantage, brainstorming and then fetching, and he's going to be able to just go ahead and brainstorm again from the graveyard. This is what Dreadhorde Arcanist is so good at, is just front running, generating massive amounts of advantage over time. May not feel like very much, but Brainstorm from the graveyard is actually significantly better than Brainstorm from your hand. You're actually going +1 cards compared to just affecting card quality. Brainstorm from the graveyard is actually netting card advantage. Incredibly powerful. Now a Stitcher Supplier comes in, and a Gravecrawler enters the graveyard. Bayou going to give Pyle any other colors he needs here. And now a Carrion Feeder. Cabal Therapy, allowing for a zombie token and to take a shot at Josh's hand. And despite a iron-fisted start to the game, things are already out of control. We see a Hogaak being convoked, and that 8/8 is just massive and a huge problem for blue-red. Luckily, I think Josh is actually on Rug Delver. We'll see if he has access to green for something like Hogaak, which is kind of an answer for the 8/8. I mean, not really much of an answer, to be truthful. You can just bring him right back. You can sack him to Carrion Feeder and just cast him again. And there is green, so yes, it is going to be Rug. I believe he was on a previous match as Canadian Threshold. Fiery Islet. And this is just an explosive turn. That 8/8 body is just so huge. And we've got a Lightning Bolt going to the face, but Dreadhorde not going to be able to stick around. And let's see. I don't see any life totals. Doesn't seem like it's going to be close enough for burn range. Rug Delver has used some fetch lands, but no forces. And we'll see how much damage comes in. Gravecrawler's able to come back. And Gravecrawler can just be sacrificed and replayed, getting zombie tokens from Bridge from Below, as well as +1/+1 counters for the Carrion Feeder, which also that second casting brings back the Vengevine. This is just absolutely brutal display of the power that this Hogaak list has. And, you know, percentage-wise, I feel like it's not that big a percentage of the meta. And is this going to be lethal? So post-combat, getting more counters on the Carrion Feeder. I believe the Vengevine was blocked. And this is very, very grim. I'm pretty sure this Hogaak is going to be able to deal lethal due to his trample, even with a couple of bodies in the way. Carrion Feeder, kind of a comical card against the likes of Oko. If you turn it into an elk, really doesn't matter. It has, you know, 5 +1/+1 counters on it. So anything with counters really doesn't care about Oko. For the most part. I mean, there are obviously some cards that their abilities are still super relevant, but in terms of Oko mitigating the damage when you've got stuff with the +1/+1 counters on it, that is not as he's intended. You generally want to just turn something into a 3/3 elk, which is easy to handle, not just some giant rampaging elk, which then wins in combat against your own elks. It's really that turn with Oko where you make their thing a 3/3, their problem permanent a 3/3, then you're able to make a food, and then you're able to make another 3/3 out of your food. And at that point, usually the game's over against the decks that Oko is the best against. For example, a Chalice of the Void or something. I mean, they're just going to have a super tough time punching through so very often at that point. You can take any other threats and downgrade them. And if they're smaller threats, then you just make 3/3s on your side. But, you know, I feel like Hogaak is one of those decks that just largely doesn't care very much about Oko. He's a little slow in this matchup, coming down turn 3. Probably the scariest thing is the fact that he can handle Altar of Dementia. If that card does get thrown out prior to just winning, Oko can potentially handle that. If I was going to have a criticism of Rug Delver, I suppose it would be it's in kind of the wrong colors for handling graveyards. Black and white, for the most part, do the best job of handling graveyard hate. And those are the two colors missing here. So you don't have access to Leyline, Rest in Peace. Cards like Fairy Macabre are not castable. You can, of course, run Surgical Extraction. You don't get the upside of cards like Nile's Spellbomb. It'll be interesting. I'd imagine we'll see what Josh has for graveyard hate. But, you know, if it's something like a Surgical Extraction, may not even... I'm not saying I wouldn't bring it in, but, like, it just probably doesn't do enough against Hogaak. I mean, even something like trying to go after the Bridge from Belows isn't even that easily done because of how easily Hogaak can just sacrifice a creature in response to exile. No, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. They'd have to kill your opposing creature. Never mind. That was an incorrect line that I started to consider. But we don't edit these, so my mistakes make it in there too. We've got a Polluted Delta starting out for a Volcanic Island. Yeah, and Hogaak actually probably has almost no way of killing opposing creatures to save the Bridge from Below's left over in the library. Closest thing to that would be like Force of Vigor in all likelihood. I mean, they could run Abrupt Decay. We'll see what he has for answers to the answers. Force of Vigor is such a good card in this deck. All right, Bloodstained Mire. And, I mean, that looked like it was a Once Upon a Time, the way that it was played. For some reason, it kind of looked like a black card. However, Bloodstained Mire fetches a Underground Sea, and now into Careful Study. Speaking of Underground, we've got this gorgeous Near Mint Underground, which we're going to be giving away this year during our Wednesday night Legacies. We're going to be doing door prizes every week at the end of the event, and that is now one of the additional potential door prizes, along with Gaia's Cradle and Mox Diamond. So all of those cards will be given away this year. Just excellent turnout. We've got a kind of a slow start here for Rug. And a whole lot of cards being dumped into the graveyard. A Stifle stopping the Stitcher Suppliers first half. However, now Hogaak coming back. And that brings back a Vengevine. He is the second creature cast, so why not get in that 4 damage now? Submerge puts the Hogaak back on top of the library. I love the card, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough here. Lightning Bolt killing the Vengevine. Getting a zombie. I'm not actually sure what that 2 mana was. Is it a Bloodghast? Might be a Bloodghast. Okay. Well, Hogaak is just coming right back. And Dreadhorde Arcanist is looking like he might just step in front of the bus. But no. No, Josh is going to preserve that Dreadhorde's integrity and just extend the hand here virtually over the internet as piles, I believe, undefeated in games on the day. Hogaak, a very, very dangerous deck. And as I said before, we are giving away incredible prizes every Wednesday. You can see the link in the description, how to join the fun and find yourself featured on the channel. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.